Hey guys, so I posted a video on my other channel, our 7-day honeymoon in the Maldives, and I'll link that here if you want to watch it. I saw that a lot of people were interested in the resort itself, which makes sense. I did the same thing when I was booking the resort, trying to find videos anyone had made, and it's a new resort. There's not a lot out there. So I thought I would make this video going through, explaining the room, explaining the resort, pros and cons, and then hopefully you can make a decision whether or not you want to book. I'm going to be extremely thorough and talk about everything I could think of, and I'll add chapters of the video so you can skip around if there's pieces you don't care about. So first of all, I will say we booked this resort basically free on points, which is what I think a lot of people are trying to do. It's a great point redemption trip, and I've seen a lot of videos and TikToks that explain how to do this, but if you don't know how to do it, let me know and I can make another video explaining how we did that. So on to the resort. Let me start off by saying I've never been to the Maldives. I'm not usually the kind of person to do these more luxury travel vacations, so everything I say kind of take it through that kind of lens. I don't really have a good gauge for what's normal for these kind of things. So basically how you get there is there's a seaplane from Male, and the seaplane is about a half hour straight north right out of the airport from Male, which is the capital of the Maldives. It's a little pricey at 420 USD per person, but as far as I know, it's the only way to get there. And there are different rates for kids and for children under 2. But I will say the views from the seaplane are beautiful, and that in and of itself is almost a nice experience to have. Another thing to note is that the seaplanes only leave during the daytime, so if you get to Male a bit later, you may end up having to stay in the city overnight. It doesn't seem like a big deal though. One of the staff told us there are ferries that go to the city every half hour, or you can get a taxi, and both those options were under 10 USD. While you're waiting for the seaplane, they do have a nice little lounge you can sit in. They'll feed you and they'll give you drinks and all that stuff. So as for the room itself, here's some footage I took. I don't have that much to add. The footage kind of speaks for itself. There's beautiful views. The water's extremely blue. The bathroom is beautiful. The tub is beautiful. The bed is big and comfortable. The one thing I'll say actually is that the hammock is a little bit uncomfortable. The material it's made out of is pretty stiff and doesn't have a lot of give. It can start to hurt if you lay on it too long. We would throw towels over it just to kind of soften it up a little bit. The other thing about these bungalows is that they are a little bit close to each other, so if you're concerned about privacy, that might be something to think about. You'll definitely see other guests snorkeling right outside their bungalow, but the shower and the bathroom area are behind tinted glass, so you don't have to worry about that too much. They also had beach bungalows, which seemed a lot more private, and they were a lot bigger, which I think they were more catered towards families, but we didn't stay in those, so I can't really speak much about them. The island itself was pretty big. The one complaint I saw from people is that it takes a long time to get to and from the restaurants from the villas, and it is about a 10-minute walk. They do have golf carts constantly going back and forth, so you can hop on, hop off anytime. And you can also call one to your room and they'd be happy to send one to you. It takes less than 5 minutes and you'll be at the resort in less than 5 minutes. So onto the food. This is probably where I had the most to talk about, and it's probably the place I wish I was a little bit more informed before I went in. I'll start off by saying the food is certainly very good and you won't starve, and there's definitely something for everyone. The island has 4 major restaurants and you can find their menus online, or you can email them and they'll send you the PDFs, which is what they did for us. There's also a couple of small cafes you can get like coffees or sandwiches from, and it is a resort and you're stuck on an island in the Maldives, so all the food is going to be a little bit pricey. We were really worried going in that we would pay $30 for a meal and we'd still be hungry afterwards, but I will say that the portions are really big, and I'll get into that later. So I'll talk about the restaurants a little bit individually. They had 2 restaurants called Turquoise and Vela, all the way on the far side of the island from the villas. This is where we ate all our meals, and I'll explain why. Turquoise is the only option for breakfast, and they actually have a really great spread there. And Turquoise also has lunch and dinner, and they have options from basically all over the world. Technically their dinner and lunch are the same menu, but they almost always had some kind of event going there every night. We went during Lunar New Year's and they had a Chinese buffet going on, and then another night they had an Italian night. And another thing I want to mention is that in general the staff is really outstanding. When we were eating, someone came up to us and introduced himself as the head chef, and he asked us, is there anything you guys want to eat? I'll cook whatever you want. I specialize in Indian food, Thai food, Indonesian food. And we said, oh, we've never had Indonesian food. Maybe if you want to cook that, we'll try it out. And the next night we came back and he cooked it for us, and it was probably the best meal we had the entire time we were there. And just in general, like one day I was reading manga while I was eating breakfast, and the staff came over and started talking to me about his favorite manga, and another one of the wait staff we got to know, and now we follow each other on Instagram. So there's just great staff, friendly people, and yeah, you'll definitely have a great experience with the staff. So anyway, back to the food. The next restaurant is Vela, and Vela has lunch and dinner. They have a lot of like pizzas, or like I got a lobster roll one day, and they have sandwiches. And then for dinner, they have basically a steak dinner. The steak dinner I had is actually one of the best steaks I've ever had. For dessert, we had the lemon tart with basil gelato, and yeah, that was just a very memorable eating experience. So there are 2 more restaurants, and they're located much closer to the villas. One of them is an adults-only bar and has a pool with they also serve some food. And then the other one is a Japanese restaurant called Tabemas. And Tabemas is in a beautiful glass building that was over the water and you had great views out. And it seemed a little more upscale, but I always saw people in there. They had an omakase tasting menu and they had teppanyaki wacky nights. But I can't say too much about them because we didn't end up eating at either of those places, which brings me to my last point. So they offer different levels of all-inclusive at this resort, and these can range anything from breakfast every day to basically completely all-inclusive. And it's worth mentioning that if you're Marriott Platinum status or above, you will get a free breakfast as one of your perks. So we ended up purchasing a level that was just below all-inclusive, and what that included was basically breakfast every day, 2-course lunch, and a 3-course dinner, and it was a lot of food. We were really worried leading up to the trip that, especially when we saw the menu prices, that we would be starving. So maybe we overthought this a little bit, and we just wanted to pay, not to worry about how much we were spending on the food. But by the end of the trip, we were asking for half portions because honestly, these meals were so big. The one nice thing is that the package we got came with free drinks, and we drink a lot of coffee, so that probably saved us a lot of money there. And it also came with a free minibar service, which was definitely saved us for those jet lag nights when we first arrived. Other than that though, I would definitely say look over your options and wait till you get to the island before you get a good gauge of how much you're going to be spending on food, because you can always upgrade once you're there, but they won't let you downgrade once you do purchase the package. So as far as activities go, there's a couple things to do. They do give you snorkeling equipment for free, and snorkeling is probably the thing we did the most. I'm not a very big snorkeler, but it really is special snorkeling in the Maldives. There's a lot to see, and it's actually very entertaining. It's also a water sports center where they have a bunch of free activities. For example, they have paddle boarding, they have kayaking, they have canoeing, and those are totally free whenever. They did offer a glass canoe, which we were going to try, but they told us that it's not very comfortable and you can't see that well, so we just ended up going with a normal canoe. There's also things that you find at resorts like pools, and it's mostly just water sports. There's a marine biologist on staff, and you can go to her anytime if you're curious about the marine life or the vegetation on the island, anything like that. So on to the paid activities. There are some pretty cool experiences you can pay for. For example, we went on a dolphin cruise, and that was amazing. We saw so many dolphins. They had drinks on board, and we got to see the sunset from the boat. Other than that, we went on a night snorkeling, which was kind of cool. You're with a guide, and he knows where all the fish hang out, so you can see them at night, and you can see, all different kinds of tropical fish that you might not have seen if you're just snorkeling on your own. And they also give you a blue light, so you can see all the UV on the corals, which is kind of a neat sight. They had other activities we didn't try, like you could get a full scuba diving lesson, or you could just do individual dives if you're not looking to get certified. And it's a great place to do it. The water temperature's nice, and there's really a lot to see. And then they have more standard activities that you see, like jet skiing and banana boats and speed boats, etc., etc. They do have excursions where you'd go out on a jet ski or a speedboat, and they would take you to go see turtles or manta rays or dolphins. We didn't end up doing that, but we did talk to people who did, and they said they saw a lot of turtles, they saw a lot of dolphins, and even a couple sharks. And there's activities you could do with marine biologists too, like you could learn about how the conservation efforts and how they try and regrow the corals. There's a whole PDF that they sent us with all their activities, and you can probably find it online somewhere, but if you just email the resort, they'll send it to you. And one last thing, my wife did go to the spa, and she said it was over water, and they had a glass floor, so you can look down and look at all the fish while you get your spa treatment. They gave her a smoothie when she arrived, and then after the spa treatment ended, she could hang out in the spa, and they served her tea. And I guess if you're a Marriott Gold member and above, they'll extend your spa treatment by 15 minutes. Overall, she highly recommended it. Okay, so that's all the information I had about the resort. It's definitely an amazing experience. We booked it for basically free, and it felt very luxurious. The staff was great. They had a lot of activities. We did a lot of relaxing. And yeah, all around, I highly recommend it. Let me know if there's anything else you'd like me to answer. Comment below. I'm sure I'll answer you. And then, yeah, if you want to subscribe, I'll be documenting more of my travel journeys and hopefully posting more videos like this describing my experiences. And I'll post more highlight videos on my main channel also. We have a Peru trip coming up, so if you're interested in that, definitely stick around. Till then, though, I'll see you all next time.